Hello and welcome to this blade steel guide for 440C. Sorry it's been a long time between knife videos and things, but I thought I'd kick off this series with a blade steel guide, and in particular we're going to look at 440C. Now I only have 3 knives with this blade steel. What I've decided to do as well, after much thought, I am going to re-release some of my older knife and watch review videos, because some of them are getting on a bit. I think one of my first knife video reviews came out in 2012, towards the end of 2012, so it's been 3.5 years or so, and since then the lighting's changed, I've had a better camera, I think I've just improved many things, my editing, the way I present the videos, all the rest of it. A lot has changed in 3 years since I started the channel. So we're going to kick it off with a brand new and improved version of the review of this Burka CDC Henny Haynes knife. I'm going to give you this review refreshed in much nicer quality, so stay tuned for that, coming in probably a couple of weeks. I hope you're going to enjoy these new and improved review videos, and I look forward to bringing them to you. Back to the video at hand. 440C. First of all, I'm just going to straight away talk about the chemical composition, and then I'll tell you what it is and all the rest of it. So the chemical composition of 440C is carbon is 0.95 to 1.2%. Chromium is between 16 and 18%. Manganese is 1%. Silicon 1%. Phosphorus 0.04%. Sulfur 0.3%. Molybdenum 0.8. These are my examples. I've got the I'm just going to call it Boca, because otherwise people will get really annoyed that I'm not pronouncing it how they'd like me to pronounce it. So if I just call it Boca for this video rather than Burka, because of the umlaut over the O, and it is German after all, let's just call it Boca. So we've got the Boca Titan, the XS and the Subcom 42 with the titanium scales. I mean, the Titan's got titanium too. They're my 3 examples. These two are UK legal to carry. The blade lengths obviously have to be under 3 inches, but we won't get tied up with that. This one isn't, unless you've got a really good reason, because it locks, as you can see. But this, when it first came out, I think it was about £40. Really excellent value considering you're getting titanium. It's not that heavy for the size of it, and the blade steel's pretty good. It's got a good lock, ambidextrous with reversible pocket clip and thumb stud opening. Then you've got this, which is the XS. I think all 3 of these are made in China, by the way. Very, very stiff knife, but although it clicks, there's no lock, so that's fine. And it is coated as well. And then this is the Subcom 42, a little bit like a credit card knife, quite thin. Lovely shape, lovely design. I think it's Chad Los Banos. I can't really remember. It's above my head, but lovely little knife here. So yeah, still sharp, and we'll talk about that now. So what is 440C stainless steel? It's obviously a steel belonging to the 400 series. It's a high carbon stainless steel. It's got high strength, moderate corrosion resistance, and good hardness and wear resistance. And after heat treatment, it is actually capable of attaining the highest strength, hardness, and wear resistance of all of the stainless alloys. You may have heard of 440A and 440B. They're pretty much identical, except for slightly lower carbon contents in A. It's got 0.6%, and in B it's got 0.75 to 9. If you're going for one, obviously pick C over those 2. It's called a martensitic stainless steel, and what that kind of means is it's optimized for high hardness. Its corrosion resistance is good to atmosphere, water, food, and a smooth surface assists with that. These I've had for well over 3 years now, and as you can see, there's no rust and the blades are still quite sharp. This one's very, very sharp. So that's just a test amount. And I have never sharpened these. I've used these a fair bit, obviously not every day, but the blade has still retained its edge after that amount of time. and they're not too difficult to sharpen either. I talked about heat treatment. They're heat treated to 58 to 60 HRC, if that means anything to you. Quite a decent HRC. 440C, that you normally make ball bearings and other high quality knives and cutlery out of 440C, mainly due to its hardness, and its corrosion resistance is due to its chromium. Remember I said it's got about 16 to 18%? A common misconception, I suppose, is that book knives do 440C, and it's one that I was actually included in. They don't make 440C, they actually make 420HC. That's their folding hunter, and this one here, the book Solo, is made out of 420J2 steel, but it's still part of the 400 series. But you can just tell feeling this steel and looking at the steel compared to like a 440C steel. Now, another thing is, where does it actually end up in the scale of things? So here are a few knives just arranged in order of kind of like combined hardness, edge retention and corrosion resistance. Basically 420J2 would be here, then you'd move up a bit, you'd go for 440A or OS6, then you go for 8CR, then you go for 440B, or in this case OS8. Then straight after you go for OS10, or in this case the topic of the video, 440C. Then you'd go a few more steps and you get 154cm, then you get VG10, and so on and so on. So I hope that helps a little bit. In the big scheme of the knives that are out there, it's probably less than half on the scale, if that makes sense. It's still a very, very good steel, and definitely better than OS8 and 8CR. But it's not quite up to par with the 154cm or the VG10, which some would say are super steels. But then after them, you've then got your CTS and your S30. Moving up, you've got your M390 and your ZDP. But I hope that helps, this little kind of representation of kind of, I suppose, what's best. As you all know, obviously the further up the scale you go, the harder it is going to be to sharpen. So that's why 440C, it's hard steel, but it's got a good balance with the corrosion resistance, because it's quite a nice steel to sharpen, and as you've just seen, it holds its edge really well. So in summary, you can't really go wrong with 440C. It's a decent enough blade steel for kind of everyday use. Its edge retention isn't going to be as great as S30, but then again, the edge isn't really going to chip. Of course, there are better steels out there like VG10 and ZDP, but I think it's a good all-round steel, and one of the beauties of it is its cost. It doesn't really cost that much, and like I said, it's the highest in the 400 series. So if you're out there and you're on a budget and you've got to have a 400 series stainless steel, then pick the 440C. And that's pretty much the end of my guide for it. Like I said at the start, I'll be reviewing this knife in a week or two. I'll probably have some new knives coming this year as well, which is great. I look forward to bringing you those. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Take care.